Happy Wednesday, everyone. I'm Nancy Thompson with Create with Nancy, and welcome to some Creative Ink. It's time to get creative and inspired so you share all these beautiful creations with those that you love. So come on in, say hello. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you so I can welcome you. Let me know where you're from, where you're joining in from, and if you're new, subscribe to my newsletter at createwithnancy.com. Hit the subscribe button. And also, if you're on YouTube, ring that bell and subscribe, because that's the only way, that's the perfect way to see the videos all the time in your feeds, okay? And also on Facebook as well. So today we have another one sheet wonder. We did a one sheet wonder last week, which was absolutely fabulous. It was a double one sheet wonder actually. And did I share that with my team? I gotta remember. I'm trying to think. I almost think I did. Maybe I didn't. Anyways, so welcome. I'll have to write it up in my notes. Anyways, so today I've got two different styles of designer paper to share with you using this one sheet wonder. We're going to create a slimline card with a custom envelope. So you're going to make a card and an envelope out of one sheet of designer paper today. So it's not anything new. I've been kind of going back through my library of ideas and pulled this one out. So hi Shirley, welcome. Okay, let's get started. We are using let me think, it's been a while since I looked at this. We're using the Peaceful Garden designer paper. It came out, was it in the mini last year? And it's still available, okay? So you can find it in the online store, which you can order at createwithnancy.com and hit the shop now button, okay? And let's look at the back side of these prints right here. So just still wintry. It doesn't really scream, you know, Christmas, I don't think. I think, you know, because doves are just, you know, like winter doves, right? The snow geese or the snow doves or whatever. And, you know, and I just think this one's fun. I think they make great like birthday cards as well. And this one is a beautiful design. And this one here is just, this one's my least favorite. I never know what to do with this. But the flip side, you know, is doable. Excuse me. And then here's this one here. Just generic. All right. So make sure to check that out. But today we're going to make kind of a generic card, okay? Using a one sheet wonder. Do you love these one sheet wonders? Let me know if you're in love with these. So today, usually on Wednesdays, I like to have like a sketch. But we're kind of doing it backwards because there's some leftovers in here that we're going to use to create some more cards, okay? And I'm going to share with that I'm going to share that on Friday. Yes, Colleen, today is Wednesday, January 21st, and I am live, okay? All right. Hi, Carol and Colleen. Welcome. I got the Clapper girls here today. Okay, so this is our 12 by 12, okay? There is kind of a right way and wrong way to cut this. So your envelope kind of comes out, let me grab an envelope here. Hang on. So that the envelope flap, when you, so this part here is, well, this wouldn't be kind of, no, it'll be fine. This part here would be upside down and so on. I guess this would end up being upside down, but either way, so just kind of, I have been doing it where I cut this on the sideways of this, okay? Hi, Kathy, welcome. So we're first going to make our first cut. As we get making it, it'll make sense. At 8.5 inches, okay? We need an 8.5 by 11 piece of designer paper, and that's going to be for our envelope. This is going to make one of our cards, okay? So we're going to turn it on its side. So now we got it going portrait again. And we're going to cut off 1 inch, okay? So that'll give us our 8.5 by 11. And I saved this for another card, okay? All right, so this is our envelope. All right, and while it's still in portrait mode, we're gonna simply score this at 1.5 inches. Did you all know, like, the end of this white grid here is 1.5 inches? So I'm going to just set my paper right up there, okay, and score this at 1.5 inches, and then I'm gonna slide it down to 1.5 inches, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind when you're scoring, okay? Remember to score gently so you don't rip through your designer paper. Hi, Gail, welcome. And then we're gonna start from like what I call the bottom. So we're going portrait. This is gonna be the bottom. And let's see, we need 2 inches. 2 inches is gonna be our first score line. Okay, and then 6 inches is our next. And that is it. So just remember to keep that cutting blade parked so you don't end up doing it. And that's all we do, 4 score lines on this, okay? And, oh, and I need to cut this. We need 6 3/4 inch length for our card. Okay, so 6 3/4 by 3 inches. So this is going to be scrap. We can use these 2 pieces for another card. And we're going to use this 1/2 inch strip on this card. Okay, so we're going to set these 2 aside. Put those aside. We're going to use those 2. All right. So let's start with our envelope. That's going to be the hardest thing. If it helps you, you know, to see the score lines, because we're going to need some cutting here, go and burnish them, okay? So see how, I guess when I looked at this, I wanted my doves going this way, all right? This is the bottom of my envelope, and this is going to be my top. I figure people open this. This one will be upside down, but you could turn it this way and address it this way, all right? So they are going right. So I think it's okay if it opens that way, right? So whatever way you decide, all right? Or you could make it this to be the inside. And of course, if that's the way you wanted, this would be like my top flap, which would still work. So what do you guys think? Do you want the doves on the inside or the outside? Let me know, okay? We will talk. So while I'm cutting my corners, and I wait for you guys to answer, then we'll figure out what we're gonna do. Okay, so we have, this is the 2.5 inch width, and this is 2 inches. So this is the bigger width, and we're gonna cut off all 4 corners, okay? And here's my score line right there. And I'm gonna just angle this, all right? Because we're gonna create some tabs in the middle, okay? So these are, this middle section is our flap, and we're gonna need to cut this off, and this is gonna be tabs, so when we fold up our envelope, that's what's gonna stick to, all right? Okay, so let's cut off this corner. We're gonna cut this corner off even, which I didn't do too great of a job, because I was, and sometimes they are hard to see, so just try to get as straight as you can. Sometimes using a longer pair of scissors is easier. And I like to angle this just so it gets some bulk out of the corners, just very slightly. See how there's just a tiny bit of angled there? Does that look, maybe if I fold it over this way. There's ever so slightly a triangle on here, okay, of a tab that I cut off. So let's do this corner here. So you guys deciding whether dove's on the inside or the outside. All right. Maybe we'll go rogue here. So let's cut this off. Does anybody remember this one sheet wonder? Because I have done it in the past, and I didn't think to see if I have a sample of these. I might have gotten rid of them. Mailed them away, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to do? So has anybody mailed any cards this week? I too went out in my mailbox today. So, all right, any So we could either do this way. Well, this would go in like this. We could do this way, and that would be our envelope, or we could go this way, have our envelope like this, and fold over. What do you think? If I do this, I definitely need to angle that better. It's kind of wonky. Okay, any recommendations, anybody? Nope. All right, let's go rogue and let's put our envelope on the outside, or our doves on the inside. All right, let's do that. Just a little bit of something different. Okay, so simply what you're gonna do is, I like to use tear tape, okay? I'm gonna simply put some tear tape right here on this bottom flap, okay? And I got one more envelope to do. We're gonna put some tear tape right here on these two edges only. You could do liquid glue, but let's, you know, it takes a while for that to dry. Second way, so doves on the inside, Carol, I think is the second way. Hi, Wendy, welcome. Good to see you here. All right, maybe the leg is behind and I'm not giving you guys enough time to answer. There we go. So I don't like these straight edges, so I'm going to give you a little tip. If you happen to have a circle punch, okay, it could be whatever size you have, but it's got to be big enough, all right, for you to insert this flap into the inside here. And it's a little tricky, so try it on some scrap first, okay, because I wasn't punching it very well. I want this edge and this edge to touch the inside of my punch, okay? And look at that, it punches off a nice rounded corner. Make sure to pop that out though. Let's see if I can wiggle it out that way. There we go. All right, so let's go in and do that again. All right, you guys see this okay? See how it's touching this edge and this edge over there in the punch? And just punch it. And it takes and makes a nice rounded corner for you. Don't be afraid to let your punches do the work, okay? All right, so this is almost done. I like to just put some tear tape across here. So it is ready to be mailed, okay? And voila, we have a beautiful custom envelope right there. Now you could use an address label. You could use a big Sharpie, okay? Just so it's readable. This is a 2-inch punch, another size punch, a 1 3/4. I don't know if a 1-inch would work. A 1-inch may. I didn't pull it out to see, but you could try that, okay, Carol? All right, so let's make our card. So we had this 3-inch by 6 3/4 length, okay, that we cut off from our One Sheet Wonder. Oh, I feel like I'm getting a cold here. I hope not. So I've already cut some cloud cover because I thought that went really nice with this, okay? And our cloud cover is 6 7/8 inch long by 3 1/8, okay? So let's adhere that onto here. We're not making this Christmassy. I want it to be a generic wintry card, okay? And, all right, here we go. I don't know, I think I want the cloud cover here. That's a little too dark and not popping enough. So I'm gonna flag my ends. This is 3/4 inch wide. I'm just gonna barely flag my ends. Okay, I'm using my old retired hexagon punch. I hope it stays forever. And we're just, you know what? I'm gonna look. Let's see. I'm gonna decide where to put this. I love those doves right there, and I hate the thought of covering them up, but I'm going to. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Isn't that awful? They're just so gorgeous. I don't know if I feel like there's enough room up there for this. What do you guys think? Does it look good up there? Or should I just put it in the center and cover them up? Okay, good, Carol. All right, what do you guys think? In the center or at the top? Or at the bottom? I don't know. So bottom, center, top. So while we're doing that, let's do the inside of our card, okay? So I saved that, remember I cut off that 1/2 inch strip there when we were cutting this, because this is a 3.5 inch wide piece. And we're gonna attach that to the bottom here, above the dove, Carol says. Okay, anybody else got any input they want to say? So we're gonna just add this onto here. All right. If only you could fussy cut your paper, right? But we can't. I guess I could have looked when I was cutting this off, but I didn't like pay attention to that. All right, yeah, because if I had paid attention, I could have taken the 1/2 inch there and then they would have been up farther. But I love this arch thing here too. All right, let's add this onto another piece. This is the same size as our designer paper. So our cloud cover again is 3 1/8 by 6 7/8. Whoops, I forgot one thing. 7/8 inches. And let's see, what are we gonna do here? I think we're gonna just put a piece of cloud cover across here, which I forgot to do. So let's just draw a really thin line. So I just start at the edge. Make sure it's smooth. You can feel, you know, it just butt up and meet that designer paper. And then get in there and clip it even with the white cardstock. There we go. But I got some glue on it. A little too much glue. It's always in the beginning I get it. All right, so there's the inside. Okay, Carol says above the doves. So let's go with above the doves. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our dimensionals on here first. So that way I get this centered on my card front appropriately. Since we're kind of limited on space. So let's do this. So we're gonna center this onto here. Yep, I think that looks good. Now I can kind of put it right there. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. Because I want to leave a little bit there. There we go. We got it. Okay, so our card base now, so this card does use a lot of cardstock, okay? So this is 7.5 by 7.5, scored at 3 3/4, okay? So let's, I was looking for my mini Slimline card. So I got to find that. So that's to come. We are going to do one of those one of these days. And I haven't found my template for it, so I got to look it up. So let's put, because this is so long. This is a regular Slimline card. So it's kind of like a number 10 size card, okay? Like a business size envelope is what this is. So it's mailable. You don't need extra postage unless you get like dimensional happy. Like some people love to add lots of dimension to their card. Okay, what do you think? And we've got a bow here. I gotta think. I think it's gonna go right underneath. So let's put our bow right there. So kind of keep that in mind as you're building your cards, unless, you know, you're okay with paying extra postage to get it hand canceled, which is totally fine. Me, I don't know. I use so much. I hate to look at my postage bill. All right, we are not quite done yet. We're going to add a little bit of bling to this. So let's get some bling out here. And our take your pick tool. If you don't have this in your crafting tools, it is a must-have. It's got some little putty on the end. These tips are refillable, so when you run out, you don't need much. Whenever you are like cleaning off your tip like this, okay, the putty is like gunky, you're just gonna give it like a little bit of a turn. Sometimes I back it off and turn it again, and it'll slowly start oozing up. Okay, you have to be patient. It's oozing. So sometimes if you find it hard to turn, I got a little tickle here today. It'll just ooze up, start maneuvering up. So I'm going to just put these on the cloud cover. Just add that little bit of bling, doesn't take away from our greeting and everything. All right, let's add the inside. Oh, and also it's got, there's a little paddle, which is great. That's great for picking up gems. And you can put the brush tip on the end too. So if you got a lot of die cuts, you want to brush out the little things there above. And then there's a little piercing tool as well that works great. And there's a few other attachments that can go with this as well. There's some cutting tools like a perforator. There's the, oh, what's that really sharp razor blade type thing that I just stay away from because I am sure to like cut myself with it. So I stay away from that type of stuff. But there's some other accessories in the catalog that you can check out. Okay, let's add this to the inside of our card and let's pair it with our envelope. What do you guys think? Isn't that just beautiful? I love it. Okay, above and cut down a tad. All right, so there we go. Here is my other design here. Whoops, I forgot to put on some gems here. Let's add that to here. Okay, because I was making these before, just before I went live, actually. Let me move a few things out of here. I didn't do the envelope for this one, but you guys get the gist, all right? I was going to do the doves here, right there. We've got this one, and then here is this one right here. So which one's your favorite? Do you like, I don't know. This one's just like the single doves. This one's the double doves here. And I tried to do some different card bases so you can see the versatility of all the different beautiful colors. That's what it is, Carol. X-Acto knife. Thank you very much. Okay. So we've got that. So Friday's video is going to be using up these scraps. So I've got these scraps here as well. There should be one more strip. I got another strip of scraps somewhere right here. So we're going to create some more cards using these scrappy pieces because we want to use everything up, right? Let's use it up and send it on to some happy mail, all right? So there's those, but I have one more design to share with you, okay? Let's look at this one. And watch in my newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter so you can get a PDF tutorial on this. All right, I've got one started, so just need to update it with some little hints to it, okay? So let's look at some of these other designs that I have to share with you, okay? Let's start out with this one. This one I was having really difficulty with. What was this paper called? Everyday Happiness. It's been out for a while, and so I paired it with a new stamp set, new bundle out of the mini. What is it called? Out of the online exclusives. I think it's, nope, it's not that one. It is, I think, this one. Yes, here it is. The Greenery Lane. That's right, Greenery Lane. because I like the dies in here, and I use the stamps and the coordinating dies with it, and it's got that washi tape. Remember we used the washi tape a few weeks ago making some cards? So I've got some hints of the washi tape here. There's not a die that cuts out these words, so I just kind of fussy cut around it, okay? And then here's the inside. Use some of that washi tape that I put on some cardstock and die cut, and then a matching envelope. And then this one, here's this one right here, a little bit more. So these are just very generic, okay? Set of cards with that. And I think I love these right here. This is the Brushed with Beauty, all right? Okay, I had to, my first envelope, all right? Number one, I scored it wrong. So try a piece of scrap paper or something, or a piece of designer paper you really, really don't love, and mark it up. Kind of like right on the 2-inch thing, that's gonna be your envelope flap. You know, and this is gonna be your bottom part of the envelope. And then you can kind of like, when you're cutting your designer paper, you'll be able to see, especially do it with like a directional piece of paper, you'll be able to see which way everything's going to fold up, all right? So that might help you. And then just put it in your stash, all right? I should write on here Slimline card, but I think you can figure that out, all right? So just make notes and save stuff in your stash. All right, so this is the Brushed with Beauty. I love these right here. I think they're gorgeous. I use some of the brushed butterflies on here, and maybe this will be, you know, this is pricey, okay? So it'd be an expensive class. So I might break it into 3 cards and sets of 3, or it could be all 6, all right, for this upcoming class schedule. So there's that, and because it does use a lot of supplies. Here's this one right here, and I didn't really do anything on the inside, all right? And, you know, it's a lot of die cutting here of cardstock and just some inside. So we used every little bit of scrap, all right? And then here, we picked up some of that Lost Lagoon in the paper. And I kind of like the Darling Duck, you know, the yellow. It just kind of, you know, just springy type of cards. And I think these cards are fun because, you know, people don't get cards this size much, right? Just really, I think, great way. So see how the design is definitely more upside down this way. And it's more like this, you know, this way. So I don't know. It's hard to tell which way to do it. You can decide whether you want the design going appropriately here or on the front, all right? So, all right, well, that's what I have to share with you all today. Oh, no, I don't. Hang on, hold the phone. We got to talk about what's happening in Stampin' Up, right? So don't forget, it is, let me go here. It is bonus days. Bonus days are happening. So every $50 you spend, you get a $5 coupon that gets spent in February. Okay. And let's see, what else? Bonus days. There's something else going on. What is it, Nancy? Oh, product of the month. So still product of the month. When you hit $75, you can use any 2 the product of the month. You could choose whichever product of the month you want. If you haven't already, if you haven't gotten the December one, you could choose that, the True Blue designer paper, or you can do the Fabulous Sains stamp set this month. And then February, there'll be a whole nother product of the month out as well. But most importantly, we have a starter kit special coming up, and they hadn't, you know, I didn't really have time to look at all the details, but I'm not sure what the price is and what the amount you get. Well, say if it's even still $99 plus, you know, the normal $125, they're giving an exclusive new stamping positioner in anybody's starter kit for the month of, for February 3rd through the 28th during February, okay? And so when you sign up, you're going to automatically get this new stamp positioner in your starter kit, which is awesome. And I haven't decided if I'm going to order it or not. I'm sure there'll be a video out come February 3rd about it, showcasing it all, unless Stampin' Up does it sooner, but we're not, I don't think we can do that yet. And let's see what else, because I still have my Stamparatus. So do I need 2 different things? So I'm not sure yet. So the jury's out whether I need to spend money on that or not. So okay, so there's that. If you want more details about that, about the starter kit come February 3rd, you can let me know. Demonstrators are going to be allowed, current demonstrators are going to be allowed to purchase that now. So I got to make up my decision in the next few days. And the next, let's see, March online exclusives, we got to see the brochure for that. And it's going to save your money, girls. There are some fabulous things coming up in the online exclusives in March. They are fabulous. So we're going to be able to pre-order them starting today. So I kind of forgot about it because we had an appointment this morning, and then Mary Pat was here working on, we were working on some wedding stuff. So I haven't really had a time to look at it, but I just quickly breezed through. There's some, if anybody cans jelly or jam, there's a really cute whole sweet collection based around jam jars. All right, so looks really good. Okay, so Kathy, you love the Slimline, great, and Gail loves the single doves for her. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. I hope you did, and come back. Friday will be a recorded video because I have another commitment at that time. So Friday, next couple of days are really busy. There's all these training sessions, one with Stampin' Up and another one training that I've got going on. So so I'll be busy doing that, and Saturday too. So it's a busy weekend. The virtual card party starts tomorrow, so wait for some ideas. Maybe I'll give you some sneak peeks about that. So, but stay warm, as Carol says. Yes, Carol, down in the sunshine. Well, you might be chilly down there, right? I hope it doesn't get too cold. I worry about all the fruits and vegetables down there because we don't want to see high prices up here. So, but stay warm, and we will see you, but definitely come back on Friday for a recorded video so you can see what I did with all this leftover designer paper. Okay. All right. Until then, let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much for being here to support me.